There is something strange about the modern world. People today are surrounded by more information about health than at any other moment in history. Yet millions still wake up exhausted, foggy, and slowly losing strength year after year. Shelves are packed with powders, pills, miracle formulas, and expensive treatments promising longer life, sharper memory, and stronger bodies. But long before laboratories existed, long before advertisements filled every screen, ancient people already understood a truth that modern society continues to forget. Real strength begins with what enters the body every single day. In the ancient biblical world, food was never treated as entertainment alone. Meals were sacred acts connected to survival, wisdom, endurance, and spiritual clarity. The people of those times did not eat merely to satisfy cravings. They ate to preserve life itself. Every seed, every herb, every piece of bread carried meaning. The body was viewed as a living temple, something entrusted to human beings for a season of time. And if the body was sacred, then nourishment could never be careless. Today, many people fear aging because they believe it automatically means weakness. They expect the joints to ache, the memory to fade, the muscles to weaken, and the spirit to become tired. But the ancient world viewed later years differently. They believed old age could still carry wisdom, strength, clarity, and purpose. Longevity was not simply about adding years to life. It was about preserving the ability to walk steadily, think clearly, and continue living with peace even while time moved forward. The greatest secret is that many of the foods connected to this kind of resilience were never rare or impossible to obtain. They were simple things growing quietly from the earth, foods that appeared in biblical stories almost unnoticed. Seeds, herbs, berries, broth, milk, and humble legumes. They were overlooked because they seemed too ordinary. Yet modern science is beginning to discover what ancient people instinctively understood all along. These foods contain remarkable compounds capable of protecting the mind, restoring the digestive system, reducing inflammation, strengthening bones, and supporting the body through the aging process. Tonight, we return to those forgotten gifts. This is not about complicated diets or impossible routines. It is about restoring ancient wisdom to modern life. Imagine sitting in a quiet kitchen while rain taps softly against the windows. A warm cup rests in your hands. The noise of the world begins to fade, and for a moment you remember something simple and powerful. Healing does not always arrive dramatically. Sometimes it begins with the smallest habits repeated faithfully every day. The first ancient food is the walnut, the guardian of mental clarity. There are certain foods that almost appear designed with intention beyond coincidence. The walnut is one of them. Crack open its shell, and the shape inside immediately captures attention. Two rounded halves filled with folds and ridges resting beneath a hard protective shell. It resembles the human brain so closely that ancient people considered it a divine sign. They believed creation itself contained clues showing humanity how to care for the body. In biblical times, nuts represented concentrated nourishment. Travelers carried them through deserts and difficult journeys because they provided lasting energy without spoiling quickly. Families stored them during seasons of uncertainty because small amounts could sustain strength for long periods. They were compact, durable, and rich with life. The walnut stands apart even among nuts because of its unusual ability to nourish the nervous system. After the age of 60, the body begins to experience silent neurological decline. Communication between nerve cells weakens. Inflammation slowly increases. The protective layers surrounding neurons begin deteriorating. This process often appears gradually as forgetfulness, slower thinking, mental fatigue, or the frustrating fog many older adults struggle to describe. Walnuts contain unusually high amounts of plant-based omega-3 fatty acids called alpha-linolenic acid. These healthy fats help support the protective membranes surrounding brain cells. They also contain powerful antioxidants and polyphenol that fight oxidative stress, one of the main drivers behind age-related cognitive decline. Researchers now understand that chronic inflammation damages the brain over time, almost like rust slowly weakening metal. Walnuts help counter that process. They nourish circulation, support communication between neurons, and provide nutrients the aging brain desperately needs. But ancient wisdom also understood preparation mattered. Raw walnuts contain compounds that can interfere with digestion and nutrient absorption, especially for older adults whose digestive systems have become more sensitive with age. That is why soaking the nuts overnight in warm water with a small amount of sea salt transforms them dramatically. The soaking process awakens dormant enzymes and reduces compounds that burden digestion. Imagine beginning the morning quietly with 7 soaked walnuts beside a cup of warm tea. Nothing expensive, nothing extreme. Yet inside those simple pieces rests nourishment for the very organ responsible for memory, focus, and awareness. The lesson of the walnut reaches beyond nutrition. The shell protects what is valuable inside. Human beings are no different. The mind must be guarded carefully from endless stress, fear, bitterness, and noise. Mental clarity is not preserved through food alone. It is strengthened through peace, reflection, gratitude, and wisdom. As people grow older, one of the greatest fears is losing memory and identity. But clarity can still remain strong when the body receives proper nourishment and the spirit remains anchored. The walnut becomes more than a food. It becomes a reminder that even delicate things can remain protected when cared for properly. The second ancient secret is bitter herbs, the forgotten medicine of cleansing. Modern society avoids bitterness whenever possible. People chase sweetness constantly. Sweet drinks, sweet desserts, sweet distractions, sweet entertainment. Yet in the biblical world, bitterness held deep meaning. Bitter herbs appeared during one of the most sacred meals ever described, the Passover. Families gathered together to eat roasted lamb, unleavened bread, and sharp bitter greens that forced the body awake with every bite. Why bitterness during a celebration of freedom? Because bitterness reminded people of suffering, endurance, and transformation. But biologically, bitter herbs also serve another astonishing purpose. They stimulate the digestive system in ways modern processed foods never can. As the body ages, digestion slows dramatically. The liver produces less bile. The stomach releases fewer digestive enzymes. Food remains heavier in the intestines. Toxins accumulate more easily. Energy decreases. Many people after 60 experience bloating, sluggishness, constipation, or discomfort almost daily without realizing their digestive system is quietly weakening. Bitterness activates receptors on the tongue connected directly to digestive function. The moment bitter compounds enter the mouth, signals travel throughout the body encouraging the release of bile, enzymes, and gastric juices. In simple terms, bitterness wakes the digestive system from dormancy. Dark leafy greens such as dandelion, arugula, mustard greens, and bitter lettuce carry remarkable cleansing abilities. They help support liver function, improve digestion, and reduce internal stagnation. Mixed gently with olive oil and lemon, these herbs become far easier to enjoy while still preserving their medicinal power. The ancient world understood something modern culture ignores. Not every valuable experience feels pleasant at first. Some forms of healing arrive through discomfort. Bitterness clears what sweetness hides. For many older adults, the body begins sending quiet warnings long before serious disease appears. Energy fades faster after meals. Sleep becomes lighter and less restorative. Inflammation settles into the joints. The stomach struggles to process foods that once caused no problem at all. Yet people often dismiss these changes as unavoidable signs of aging instead of recognizing them as signals from the body asking for support. The ancient world paid close attention to these signals. People observed nature carefully because survival depended on understanding how the body responded to food, climate, work, and seasons. They noticed that bitter plants seemed to restore appetite, cleanse heaviness from the body, and improve vitality after long periods of exhaustion. Even without modern science, they recognized patterns modern medicine now confirms. When bitter greens touch the tongue, the body immediately increases digestive secretions. The liver releases bile more effectively. The pancreas responds with digestive enzymes. This improves the breakdown of fats and proteins while supporting detoxification pathways that become sluggish with age. Bitterness acts almost like an alarm clock for the digestive organs. Imagine a simple evening meal prepared quietly in an old stone kitchen. A handful of dark greens rests beside warm bread and olive oil. The flavors are sharp, earthy, and alive. Nothing about the meal is excessive, yet the body responds with gratitude because it receives what it genuinely needs instead of endless stimulation. The lesson hidden inside bitter herbs is deeply human. Growth often begins with uncomfortable change. Healing sometimes requires releasing habits that slowly destroy health. Many people spend decades consuming foods that inflame the body, cloud the mind, and drain energy while never realizing how different life could feel with small, consistent changes. The third ancient secret is flaxseed, the thread of restoration hidden inside a tiny seed. In biblical lands, flax was treasured for its fibers. Fine linen garments worn by priests and kings came from flax plants carefully cultivated and woven into cloth. Linen symbolized purity, preparation, and sacred purpose. Yet hidden inside the flax plant was another gift often overlooked completely. The seed itself carried extraordinary power. Flaxseed may appear insignificant because of its size, but inside rests one of the richest plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids and lignans found anywhere in nature. For aging bodies, this combination becomes remarkably important. After 60, inflammation often increases throughout the body silently. Hormonal balance shifts. Cholesterol regulation becomes more difficult. Blood sugar fluctuates more easily. The digestive tract loses efficiency. The microbiome, the vast community of bacteria living inside the intestines, becomes less diverse and resilient. All of these changes influence energy, immunity, mood, memory, and even joint health. Flaxseed supports many of these systems simultaneously. Its fiber helps stabilize blood sugar while feeding beneficial gut bacteria. Its omega-3 fats support circulation and reduce inflammatory stress. Its lignans contain antioxidant properties that help protect cells from damage linked to aging. The mucilage surrounding the seed forms a soothing gel-like coating inside the digestive tract that calms irritation and supports regular elimination. But preparation once again matters greatly. Whole flax seeds often pass through the digestive system untouched because the outer shell is extremely hard. Grinding the seeds fresh before eating releases their nutrients so the body can actually absorb them. Mixed into warm oatmeal, yogurt, or even stirred gently into warm water with honey, flaxseed becomes a simple daily medicine disguised as food. Imagine sprinkling freshly ground flax over a warm breakfast while morning sunlight enters quietly through the window. Such a small act seems insignificant, yet repeated daily over months and years, these habits shape the future condition of the body. The ancient world understood that strength is not built through dramatic moments alone. It is woven gradually through small, faithful actions repeated consistently over time. Linen becomes strong because thousands of delicate fibers are woven tightly together. Human health works the same way. Every meal, every choice, every hour of sleep, every moment of movement contributes to the larger structure of life. The fourth ancient secret is herbal bone broth, the forgotten foundation of physical strength. Modern culture often seeks quick solutions. Instant meals, instant supplements, instant energy. But some forms of nourishment cannot be rushed because transformation itself requires time. Bone broth existed long before nutrition science gave names to collagen, amino acids, and mineral extraction. Ancient families prepared broth because they understood instinctively that deep strength came from using every part of an animal with patience and respect. Nothing valuable was wasted. Picture a large clay pot resting over slow heat through the night. Bones, joints, marrow, onions, garlic, herbs, and water simmer quietly for hours. The house fills with warmth and aroma while minerals and proteins slowly release from the bones into the liquid. The process appears simple, yet biologically it creates one of the most restorative foods available for aging bodies. After 60, collagen production decreases dramatically. Cartilage becomes thinner. Joints lose cushioning. Skin loses elasticity. Bones become more fragile. Many older adults experience stiffness every morning because the connective tissues throughout the body are gradually weakening. Slow-cooked bone broth provides collagen peptides, gelatin, glycine, proline, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and other nutrients that support connective tissue repair and joint resilience. Warm broth also suits digestion while providing easily absorbed protein for bodies that may struggle processing heavier meals. Adding apple cider vinegar or lemon juice during cooking helps pull minerals from the bones more effectively. Herbs such as garlic, onion, thyme, and parsley enhance both flavor and anti-inflammatory properties. The modern world often treats broth as merely soup stock, something secondary and disposable. Ancient people viewed it differently. A pot of broth represented care, patience, nourishment, and hospitality. Serving broth to someone meant offering deep comfort and restoration. There is also a spiritual lesson hidden within broth itself. Bones must endure long, slow heat before their deepest nourishment becomes available. Human beings often experience something similar. Difficult years, losses, disappointments, and suffering can either harden the heart or draw out wisdom, compassion, patience, and resilience hidden deep within the soul. Aging does not have to mean becoming weaker emotionally or spiritually. Sometimes later years reveal strengths younger people have not yet developed because only time and hardship can produce them. Imagine beginning a cold morning holding a warm bowl of broth in both hands. Steam rises gently while the body absorbs nourishment built slowly through hours of preparation. The experience feels grounding, calming, almost sacred in its simplicity. Modern life constantly pushes people toward excess and speed. Yet many of the most healing things still move slowly. Healing digestion takes time. Restoring energy takes time. Rebuilding strength takes time. Deep transformation always does. The body listens carefully to how it is treated. Every nourishing meal becomes a message telling the body whether life is supported or neglected. Ancient people understood this instinctively, and their wisdom continues whispering quietly across centuries to anyone willing to listen again. The fifth ancient secret is sprouted chickpeas, the food of endurance and renewal. Among the dusty hills and dry landscapes of the ancient Near East, chickpeas became one of the most dependable foods for survival. They were simple, affordable, easy to store, and capable of feeding families through difficult seasons when other foods were scarce. Yet beneath their humble appearance lies an extraordinary lesson about transformation. A dry chickpea appears lifeless. Hard, pale, and motionless, it seems almost dormant. But the moment it touches water and receives patience, everything begins to change. The seed softens. A crack appears. Then slowly a tiny sprout emerges, carrying new life hidden inside all along. Ancient people witnessed this process constantly. To them, sprouting symbolized renewal itself. Life emerging from what once appeared dead. Strength rising quietly in darkness before becoming visible to the world. Modern science now explains why sprouting dramatically changes the nutritional value of chickpeas. Dry legumes naturally contain compounds called lectins and phytates that protect the seed, but also interfere with digestion and mineral absorption. For older adults whose digestive systems already struggle with efficiency, these compounds can increase discomfort and reduce the body's ability to absorb nutrients properly. But during sprouting, an incredible biological transformation occurs. Enzymes activate within the seed. Vitamin levels increase. Mineral availability improves. Complex starches become easier to digest. Proteins begin breaking into more accessible amino acids. The chickpea essentially awakens from dormancy and becomes far more nourishing. For aging bodies, this matters deeply. Blood sugar regulation often weakens after 60. Energy crashes become more common. Muscles lose mass gradually. Insulin resistance silently increases. Sprouted chickpeas provide fiber, plant protein, slow-digesting carbohydrates, magnesium, zinc, and B vitamins that help stabilize energy while supporting metabolism and circulation. The preparation itself teaches patience. First, the chickpeas soak overnight, absorbing water slowly. Then they rest beneath a damp cloth while tiny sprouts emerge over several days. No rushing, no force, just quiet transformation happening out of sight. There is something profoundly human about this process. Many people enter later years believing their strongest days already belong to the past. They fear decline more than possibility. Yet life continues changing and growing as long as the heart remains open. Renewal often begins invisibly long before visible results appear. Imagine a small bowl of freshly sprouted chickpeas drizzled with olive oil and sea salt. The texture is soft yet alive with freshness. Simple nourishment carrying ancient wisdom inside every bite. The sixth ancient secret is wild berries, the colors of resilience and protection. There is a reason berries capture attention so easily in nature. Their colors seem almost impossible. Deep blues, rich purples, vibrant reds glowing against green leaves and dusty landscapes. Ancient people viewed these colors symbolically. Crimson represented sacrifice, life, covenant, and redemption. Purple represented royalty, dignity, and honor. Yet these colors also reveal something biological. Wild berries produce intense pigments because they survive harsh environmental stress. Heat, sunlight, insects, drought, and rough conditions force the plant to develop powerful protective compounds. Those same compounds become protective inside the human body. As people age, oxidative stress increases throughout the body. Free radicals damage cells gradually over time, much like rust weakening metal. This process contributes to wrinkles, memory decline, inflammation, cardiovascular disease, weakened eyesight, and slower recovery from illness. Wild berries contain anthocyanins, antioxidant compounds among the most powerful discovered in nature. These compounds help protect blood vessels, improve circulation, reduce inflammation, and even cross the blood-brain barrier to support neurological function. For older adults, this becomes especially important because circulation often weakens with age. Blood vessels lose elasticity. Vision declines. The brain receives less efficient blood flow. Memory and concentration suffer. Anthocyanins help strengthen capillaries, improve vascular flexibility, and protect delicate tissues throughout the body. Studies suggest they may support cognitive performance, eye health, and cardiovascular resilience. Imagine walking through a quiet countryside path where small berries grow among thorny branches beneath strong sunlight. The plant survives difficult conditions, yet produces sweetness and nourishment despite hardship. That lesson mirrors human life beautifully. Many people carry wounds, disappointments, losses, and silent grief accumulated across decades. Yet those experiences can also deepen compassion, wisdom, patience, and empathy. Hardship does not always destroy beauty. Sometimes it creates it. Fresh berries eaten gently, without heavy processing, preserve the delicate antioxidant compounds most effectively. Mixed into goat yogurt or enjoyed alone early in the morning, they become nourishment for both body and spirit. The seventh ancient secret is fermented goat yogurt, the quiet miracle of transformation through stillness. Throughout biblical history, goat milk represented abundance and survival. Goats thrived in harsh terrain where other animals struggled. They consumed rough vegetation and transformed it into rich, nourishing milk capable of sustaining families through difficult seasons. But fermentation unlocks an even deeper level of nourishment. As the human body ages, digestion changes dramatically. Many older adults develop sensitivity to cow milk proteins and lactose. The microbiome weakens. Beneficial bacteria decrease. Inflammation increases inside the digestive tract. Nutrient absorption suffers. Goat milk differs naturally from cow milk because its fat particles are smaller and its protein structure is easier to digest. When fermented into yogurt or kefir, the transformation becomes even more remarkable. Beneficial bacteria consume much of the lactose while producing probiotics, enzymes, vitamins, and organic acids that support gut health. The final product becomes easier to digest while helping restore balance inside the microbiome itself. The microbiome influences far more than digestion alone. Modern science now recognizes strong connections between gut bacteria and immunity, mood, inflammation, cognition, and overall longevity. Fermented foods introduce living microorganisms that help restore diversity within the digestive ecosystem. For older adults struggling with bloating, irregularity, low immunity, or inflammation, this support becomes extremely valuable. Yet fermentation also teaches a deeper lesson about stillness. Milk does not become yogurt instantly. It requires warmth, darkness, quiet, and time. The transformation happens invisibly while the outside appears unchanged. Human life often works the same way. Modern society glorifies constant activity, noise, and productivity. But some of the most important transformations occur silently within the soul during seasons of slowing down. Later years can become profoundly meaningful when approached not as decline, but as refinement. Imagine a bowl of cool fermented goat yogurt drizzled lightly with honey and topped with fresh berries. Living nourishment, supporting the body from within while carrying echoes of ancient kitchens and forgotten wisdom. The ancient world never separated physical health from spiritual well-being completely. They understood that stress, fear, bitterness, gratitude, rest, relationships, and faith all influenced the condition of the body. Food was part of a larger rhythm of life connected to nature, patience, community, and reverence. Modern people often search endlessly for one dramatic solution capable of reversing years of neglect overnight. But the body usually heals gradually through consistency. Small faithful habits repeated daily create powerful long-term change. Strength after 60 is still possible. Clarity is still possible. Energy is still possible. Peace is still possible. The body responds remarkably when given what it truly needs instead of constant overload. Ancient wisdom reminds humanity that healing does not always require complexity. Sometimes the deepest restoration begins by returning to what was quietly nourishing people all along. There is a moment many people experience quietly after reaching later years of life. It often arrives unexpectedly, perhaps while climbing stairs that once felt effortless, perhaps while searching for a forgotten name, perhaps while sitting alone in the evening noticing how different the body feels compared to decades earlier. In that moment, fear sometimes enters the heart. Fear that strength is disappearing permanently. Fear that aging means slowly losing everything that once felt stable and familiar. But ancient wisdom offers a different perspective. The people of the biblical world respected age because they recognized something modern culture frequently ignores. Time does not only weaken, time also deepens. A tree standing for many decades develops roots impossible for younger trees to possess. Its trunk thickens, its endurance strengthens. Storms that once could have destroyed it become survivable because years have created resilience beneath the surface. Human beings are no different. The foods carried through ancient generations were never meant merely to extend life mechanically. They were intended to preserve function, clarity, endurance, and peace so individuals could continue living meaningfully throughout old age. Every herb, seed, broth, and fermented food reflected a philosophy of stewardship toward the body. Modern society often separates health into isolated categories. One treatment for the heart, another for the joints, another for memory, another for digestion. Yet the body functions as an interconnected system where every organ influences another. Inflammation inside the gut affects the brain. Poor circulation influences memory. Blood sugar instability weakens energy and mood. Chronic stress damages digestion and immunity simultaneously. Ancient nutritional traditions supported the body holistically because people observed the interconnectedness of life naturally. Consider the combined power of the foods already explored together. Walnuts nourish the nervous system and support mental clarity. Bitter herbs awaken digestion and cleanse stagnation. Flaxseed strengthens the microbiome while calming inflammation. Bone broth restores connective tissue and mineral balance. Sprouted chickpeas stabilize energy and improve metabolic resilience. Wild berries defend cells against oxidative stress. Fermented goat yogurt replenishes beneficial bacteria and supports immunity. Each food strengthens a different system, yet together they create harmony. Imagine waking early in the morning while sunlight slowly enters the kitchen. A small bowl of goat yogurt rests beside fresh berries and ground flaxseed. Warm herbal tea rises gently with steam. Later in the day, a simple meal includes bitter greens drizzled with olive oil and a warm cup of broth simmered patiently overnight. In the evening, a handful of soaked walnuts becomes nourishment for the brain before sleep. Nothing about this lifestyle appears dramatic by modern standards. There are no flashy advertisements or promises of instant miracles. Yet the body thrives on consistency more than intensity. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing healing only matters after severe illness appears. Ancient cultures focused heavily on preservation before crisis occurred. They understood prevention carried extraordinary value because rebuilding health after complete collapse becomes far more difficult. The body constantly communicates through energy levels, digestion, sleep quality, skin condition, joint stiffness, mood, and mental clarity. Small symptoms often appear years before major disease develops. Ancient wisdom encouraged people to listen carefully to those signals instead of ignoring them. There is also profound emotional healing connected to slowing down enough to nourish oneself intentionally. Many older adults spent decades caring for everyone except themselves. They worked tirelessly, raised families, carried burdens, survived disappointments, and continued moving forward even while exhausted internally. By the time later years arrive, some individuals barely remember what genuine rest or nourishment feels like anymore. Preparing nourishing food becomes an act of self-respect. It quietly says the body still matters. Life still matters. Health still matters. The modern world encourages speed constantly. Fast food, fast entertainment, fast information, fast distractions. Yet the human nervous system was never designed for endless stimulation without recovery. Chronic stress increases inflammation, weakens immunity, disrupts digestion, damages sleep, and accelerates aging biologically. Ancient lifestyles naturally included rhythms modern people have largely abandoned. Slower meals, more walking, greater connection to daylight and seasons, more physical labor balanced with periods of rest. Less constant noise attacking attention every waking hour. This does not mean returning literally